So let's talk about the ending of the movie then.
Okay.
So we go to Skyfall, which is Bond's ancestral home, and where he grew up as a kid, where he was orphaned. Both his parents died when he was, I think, 7. They say in the film, and so they kind of bring it all back in what I thought was quite a Christopher Nolan-esque way, you know, with what he's done with the Batman movies. What did you think of the ending?
I thought the ending was great, actually, because when they went back to Sky, I was thinking, is this going to be the ending? They're going to have to go somewhere else. But actually, I like how it moves back in on itself, and it goes back to Bond's origins, which have never been hinted at. And one of the things I absolutely adore about it is that there's not some kind of terrible, boorish flashback sequence, and you see how his parents died. But M says to him when they're looking at Skyfall, you know, what happened to your parents? And of course she'll know. She has all his records. And Bond goes to her in one line, goes, I'm not telling you, you know this already. So there's no kind of, they don't labour it. It's just hinted at that this place obviously has some kind of deep emotional significance for 007.
Yeah.
And it's fitting that it's destroyed. And he has to go down into the tunnel, the priest hole, that he went into when he was a kid.
Yeah,
like, he hid in there after his parents'
hid
death.
there for 2 days.
And it's almost like he has to go through that and emerge on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also think the ending's great, where it's no accident that M dies in the chapel, outside of which his parents are buried, because for all intents and purposes, she's his surrogate mum, and she dies in his arms at his home. It's just that all that stuff I think really contributes to how moving that ending is.
And so the death of M, I mean, it's a pretty big deal in the Bond universe. How do you think this is going to affect him going forward? Because, you know, the film ended pretty soon after that, and we didn't really get a sense of how he's going to react.
Yeah, he seemed to was trying to hold it together. So I'm reporting for duty to M, like I'm ready to get back out there, giving him some sense of resolve. But I think if they're smart, it's going to feed into that sense of loss that Daniel Craig's Bond has. Like they really linger on his eyes and face. There's real melancholy to his Bond, and I love the fact that it didn't get kind of bogged down in dealing with all the quantum stuff. Kind of just went, well, we're not going to bother with that because we got into a bit of a mess. But there's one line that refers back to Vesper dying, so the woman that he actually loved and cared about. In the movie, he says something, I know a lot about loss, or something like that, or he knows even more about that at the end of Skyfall. And I think to make his Bond work, that's going to have to be a big part of it, the kind of sense of loss.
Yeah.
And also his age, I think, is so great, because he's still obviously physically in peak condition, like he's still a specimen of a man, but he's getting on. So I think if they can combine those two elements, that could be really interesting for the movies going forward.
Yeah. And Sam Mendes has said that he doesn't want to direct another James Bond movie. He set the bar pretty high. Like, it's going to be a challenge for the next...
That really saddens me. Like, I would love him to have done a trilogy, because does Craig have 2 more in him?
At least 2, the producer said.
I think people would like continuity. And I think they tried to do that with Casino Royale and Quantum without a plan. They tried to weld 2 movies together and engineer a kind of an arc that never really materialised. I feel like Skyfall, the movies that come after Skyfall after that have to have that kind of quality. It has to have that kind of look and feel to it, and casting. Otherwise it's going to feel an inferior product, I think.
It's a challenge. They've got a challenge. I'd like to read out a quote now, if I might, Dan. The 50th anniversary of Bond is being celebrated in many ways this year, but Sam Mendes may have found the perfect way to pay tribute to this enduring icon of popular culture. He's made the best Bond film yet.
Yeah.
Not my words, the words of Daniel Krupa from your review. So yeah, let's finish off the spoiler cast by asking that question. Do you think it's the best Bond yet?
Yes, I stand by that. I do genuinely believe that. And
what were your favourites kind of going into this one?
Going into this one, Goldfinger. I think everyone likes Goldfinger. Thunderball, I like GoldenEye. I like Casino Royale. But I just think Skyfall, there's never been a Bond movie of quite that kind of artistic quality, that kind of emotional depth and complexity. But also I think it is the fulfillment of what Casino Royale tried to do in 2006, which was reboot Bond. I think Casino Royale, if you go back, is too much indebted to the Bond legacy, and it kind of still fetishizes the elements of the cars and all that sort of stuff, whereas this movie feels like this is how Bond survives in the 21st century. This is how he goes forward for another 50 years, is by getting rid of a lot of that heritage rather than playing up to it.
Yep. I'm not sure it's my favourite yet. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
You know,
you need distance. The
morning after seeing it the night before, and I don't know if it can ever be my favourite when you've got a scene where that bloke's drinking the Heineken. Oh, that was painful. That was one of the most painful. They just could have done it in a more subtle way.
I completely understand. I think the Heineken product placement is atrocious. But at the same time, I've heard a couple of perspectives on this. Like, Bond in bed drinking Heineken kind of makes sense.
That's not what I was referring to.
But then the other guy with Q, that one is a bit like, he's after hours having a beer.
Yeah.
But nothing will be as bad as Casino Royale when he has his watch and they go, Rolex? No. Omega? That's bad. He's actually saying the name of the brand.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Nice can of Heineken.
There you go.
And I did have a couple of problems with the motivation of the villain, as I said, and I did think it sagged a little bit in the first hour. But I loved it. I love the movie, and yeah, my favourites are similar to yours. I really like From Russia with Love as well.
Yeah, that's great.
And I agree, GoldenEye and Casino Royale of the modern era are two fantastic Bond movies. So I'm not quite sure.
But I think it's definitely the best of Craig's tenure.
Yeah. Well, time will tell.
Well, maybe not. Maybe the next one will be directed by G or Zack Schneider.
We can but hope. And on that bombshell, I think we will end the spoiler cast. But thanks for watching if you made it through to the end. And if we can continue the conversation, maybe let us know in the comments below what you thought of Skyfall. So Daniel, thanks a lot, and thanks for watching.